scoot that way, Ted. I like symmetry here. I'm a chiropractor after all.
Yay, we're live.
Okay, we're live. All right, guys, if you're joining the webinar, just want to say thanks for being here. Just a little bit of a last minute audible with all the snow that we've gotten and the inclement weather. Roads are nasty. It's late at night. People don't want to drive. Totally get it. So anyway, we decided to do this as a webinar instead of a live workshop. But I actually think this is going to be quite a bit better because we're going to be able to share a screen, show you the PowerPoint. We're also going to just put some downloadables into the chat, the comment section, the chat box. So I think you guys will really enjoy this. Plus, you can go back and watch it over and over and over again, which I'm sure you will, or you can share this. And we'll also put this up on our YouTube channel eventually as well. If you guys, can we tell if people are on or if people are watching? Looks like we got 4 people so far. Hey, whoever's, if you're on and if you can hear us and see us and everything's good, why don't you give us a thumbs up?
Oh, yay.
Dinah, awesome. We're glad we're doing it this way too. Give us a thumbs up in the comments if you can hear us okay and you can see us okay. Dan, awesome. Tracy and Joe, good deal. All right, guys, we're going to give people probably another 2 or 3 minutes to hop on here before we get going. And then, oh, cool. Mary says everyone at the clinic can hear us. Sylvia's on. Awesome.
Sweet.
Cool. While we're waiting for people to jump on here, if you guys have specific questions, even ahead of time, why don't you post in the comments the number one thing that you're hoping to get out of the webinar tonight? Like, what's the one piece of information, action step, tip, whatever it is that you want to get out of this? Put that in the comments. We want to make sure and go above and beyond, deliver for you guys, which I know we will. This is going to be great. Oh, my lovely wife is on. Hope you're making our kids watch this, Erin. Make them watch this instead of Ninjago.
Oh, come on now. Ninjago is still popular at my house.
Is it?
Oh, yeah.
Apparently there's a Spotify playlist that's all Ninjago.
Oh, I'm surprised we haven't discovered that yet.
Well, Xavier puts it on and then pretends like he's breakdancing.
Oh, I love it. I can totally picture him doing that.
Gets that from his mom.
Let's see if I can break dance with him at the Christmas party.
We're not liable for any medical bills afterward. All right, we're going to get started. I'm going to see if I can share my screen and get you guys looking at the PowerPoint here.
Minus the, yeah, you need to go into full view
Well.
there.
Let me try this. Ooh.
Yay.
That got it.
Sweet.
Okay, guys. Well, welcome to the inflammation webinar. This is the 5 steps to naturally heal from inflammation. I'm Dr. Erin Sousley. This is Cece McClintick. We're super excited that you're here with us tonight. Our number one goal for tonight is to teach you clear action steps to help you deflame your body without dangerous medications. Yes, most medications are dangerous, especially when taken over and over and over again for a long period of time. And the outcome, hopefully, is so that you can lower your risk of disease and live pain-free, right? Everybody wants to live a disease-free, pain-free life. And what you need to know is that inflammation is at the root of just about all chronic pain conditions and chronic diseases. And so we're gonna over-deliver tonight, I think, and give you some really, really great actionable information. And we want you to stick around to the very end because we're gonna give you a free gift. Cece worked really hard on putting this together. It's called the Holiday Survival Guide, and it's an ebook. And it's exactly that. I mean, the average, I just looked last year after the holidays at statistics, and the most recent statistics show that the average American puts on between 2 to 4 pounds every holiday season. And the mind-blowing thing about it is that most people either don't lose any of that or they lose about half of it every year. But think about that. I mean, even if conservatively speaking, you just put on 2 pounds every holiday season and you do lose half of it. Well, that's still 10 pounds every year, and 20 years later, you're 20 pounds heavier. And worst case scenario, you're 40, you're 4 pounds heavier every year. Anyway, the point is that it's the holidays, not the holla months, right?
That's right.
And so, yes, you can enjoy all of grandma's old recipes and not feel guilty, but get it done with and then get right back on track. So the Holiday Survival Guide is just that. It's just tips and tricks about how to survive the holidays while still having fun and not depriving yourself, but not end up with a bunch of regret and a laundry list of New Year's resolutions like most people have come January 1. So stick around to the end. We're going to get you that. It's going to show up as a link in the comments section. So you'll just be able to click on that, download it. Yes, you can share it. We're not going to get upset or charge you for it, but just use it. I mean, that's the whole point. We want you to use it. We want your friends to use it, your family members. So download that, share it. And this is really why we're doing this. Because if you look at the current state of health in America today, I mean, as you read these conditions, heart disease, cancer, autoimmune disorders, which would be things like Hashimoto's thyroiditis or ulcerative colitis or Crohn's disease or rheumatoid arthritis, and the list goes on. Actual arthritis, degenerative joint disease, or arthritis like in your joints and your bones, leaky gut, liver disease, pancreatitis, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, behavioral changes, and the 2 most common, fatigue and chronic pain. If you look at this laundry list, either you yourself are thinking, man, that's me. Like I have at least 1 to 3 of those things, or chances are, a bunch of people in your friends or family that do. And what you got to know is that, like I said earlier, inflammation is at the root cause of all of this. And so if you can learn even just one action step to help de-inflame your body, calm down the inflammation, not only are you going to feel better, you're going to have better energy, but based on the most recent literature, it's been proven scientifically that you will reduce your risk of these other leading killers in America today. A little bit about me, if you're new to this show, I'm Dr. Erin Sousley, chiropractor, certified functional medicine practitioner. This is my lovely wife, Dr. Erin, in that top right picture. We host a podcast called Win Your Health. There's some pictures of our beautiful babies, and Erin and I speaking at a seminar. So we do a lot of fun stuff. We opened Summit Family Chiropractic 11 years ago. And God's just blessed us beyond belief with literally tens of thousands of people and families to take care of. And our mission is to help empower people to live a principled life, so that they don't have to, do what the average American does, which is spend a ton of money and take a ton of drugs, have a ton of surgeries, and still not end up with very good health. If you look at, again, the current state of health in America today, we rank 37th in the world in overall health. And yet we spend the most money, take the most drugs, have quote unquote the best healthcare system. And yet people are getting sicker and sicker. And my personal philosophy is that God created us all for purpose, but you can't serve your purpose if you're sick, suffering, or dead. You have to have your health. Besides your faith in your family, your health is the greatest asset that you have on planet Earth. And most people don't make it a priority until they lose it or are losing it. So our mission is to help prevent that and get people moving in the right direction. That's also why we don't just provide chiropractic care. We've got people like Cece on board. And you can brag about yourself a little bit, but Erin and I can just tell you, bringing you on board has been one of the best decisions we've ever made, just in terms of clinical standards and excellence and patient outcomes. But also just in terms of delivering the highest quality of natural healthcare in our area. It's been phenomenal.
Yeah, I feel completely blessed to be a part of the mission that you guys have started in our community. And so my background, obviously I have a family. Here's a picture of some of us. I've got one child that's missing, but I have 3 kids from middle school up to college. And so I'm a busy mom. I have an amazing husband, and I have my own health journey. And I can tell you, I struggled for years with being sick all the time. I've had several diagnoses, and I was just sick and tired of being sick and tired. And I hit my tipping point, and I finally focused on my health. And through that journey, I decided that I wanted to completely switch my careers and get into the functional nutrition space. So I became certified as a functional nutritional therapy practitioner, did additional certifications as a restorative wellness practitioner with digestion and adrenal health. And I'm currently in a very intense program through the School of Applied Functional Medicine. So so I'm really excited to be here tonight.
It's awesome. So all that to say, you're gonna feel like you're drinking from a fire hose maybe a little bit tonight, but please, if and when you have questions, put them in the comments, because if you have a question, chances are a bunch of other people have the same question. If you need clarification, if you're wondering about practical application, that's really our number one goal, is not just to educate you a bunch tonight, but is to empower you. And the difference between education and empowerment is that empowerment, you leave feeling like you can actually go do something with it. Education is just like you know a bunch of stuff, and there's a big difference. And this is our practice model. So again, if you're new to this and you're unfamiliar with what we do, we're not just a chiropractic clinic, but we're a Max Living clinic. Max Living is a network of doctors. There's over 200 doctors in the United States and Canada. We all practice the 5 essentials of Max Living. So Max Living is a healthcare system, or it's a healthcare model. And so our model is based on the 5 essentials, and the 5 essentials are nutrition, minimize toxins, oxygen and exercise, mindset, and core chiropractic. And the reason why there's 5, and the reason why there's not just 1, is because, like I always say, you are not, as much as I love chiropractic as a chiropractor, you're not just a spine and nervous system, right? Just like you're not just a brain, you're not just a stomach, you're not just muscles, you're not just a liver, you're a whole person. And so this is whole person healthcare. Why do we do this? It's because people need it, right? You can't just eat clean. You can't just get adjusted. You can't just exercise. Health is not a la carte. We've got to look for the interferences, clear those interferences so that your body can work like it was created to. And that's really what our goal is. It's not to give you any more health from the outside in. I can't give you any more health than you already have. Our job is to find the interferences that are interfering with your body's physiology and longevity, remove those, and help empower you to live a principled life so that you can live a life that you were created for. And like I said just a minute ago, it's not just the information that's going to make a difference tonight. Like our hope and prayer is that you would take away at least one thing that you could, start applying to your life either tonight or tomorrow and start seeing results, right? Because those small wins turn into more wins turn into big wins, and eventually you've got total life transformation. But it's not information that changes you. It's the information plus application that creates the transformation. So take notes, do something about it. Your life will change. I promise you. And this is a good example, I just love these patient stories because, a lot of people think, well, this is easy for you guys to talk about because you guys eat and breathe this all day long. That's true, but it wouldn't be worth it unless people actually saw life change happen from this. And so this is a patient of ours, an amazing story. Stephen became a patient several years ago now. Initially came, and the picture on the left is where he started. Pretty young guy, already having a bunch of health problems. Started as a patient, started applying a lot of the principles that you're going to learn tonight. And within a relatively short amount of time, and it was less than 6 months, he lost over 65 pounds, no more allergies, no more sinus problems, no more fatigue, increased energy, no more joint pain. And my favorite is that he learned and sustained a healthy lifestyle. And now he's able to travel the world. And the way he does that is he's actually a pilot. So after all this happened, he became a pilot. He flies all over the place. He lives in Utah. He actually flies in every now and again just to get adjusted and then back to work. I mean, it's pretty cool to have that luxury. But nonetheless, he's living his best life. He's living the life that God intended him to, and it's because he got his health back. And my whole point is that if he can do it, so can you. There's nothing stopping you. There's nothing special about him that makes him different than you or anybody else. It's just the difference is in the doing. So again, I'm beating a dead horse, but take notes, take action. We're going to start with the definition of health because to create some context so that you really understand how inflammation plays a part in, just about every physiological function in your body, you've got to understand what health actually is. And the mistake that a lot of people make is they base their health on what? They base their health on how they feel. Yeah. You wake up in the morning and if you feel good, you think you're healthy. If you don't feel good, you think you're sick. And there's some merit to that, but the reality is that you could feel totally fine and be on death's doorstep and not even know it. And that's exactly what happened to my wife's mom. So Katie, almost 7 years ago, she looked and felt totally fine, had very few, no symptoms at all, really, relative to her condition. And pretty much out of the blue, started having a bunch of back pain, digestive issues, went to the doctor, had a bunch of tests run. And before you know it, she gets diagnosed with stage 4 pancreatic cancer. And it was only 5 weeks until she passed away. And so she went from looking good and feeling good, which again, most people would say, I'm perfectly healthy if I look good and I feel good, to being on death's doorstep and taking her very last breath on planet Earth in a matter of weeks. And so the reality is that health is not how you feel. And if you look up the real definition of health anyway, health is not defined by how you feel. The World Health Organization defines health by function, right? You can read the whole thing, but I've always just said health equals function. And it makes sense because God put all these parts and pieces in your body. And if they're functioning at 100%, you're 100% healthy. It's no different than a car manufacturer that puts together a car and all the parts and pieces. And as long as that car is functioning like they designed it to, the car lasts a long time and it runs great, right? With a little bit of maintenance, your body is the exact same way. The difference is in the body, you can see the diagram, 100% function is perfect health. 0% function is death. We're all somewhere in between, but pain and symptoms don't typically show up until your body's functioning at 60% or below. So think about that. You have to lose 40% function in a part of your body before you even start to feel it. What does that mean? What that means is if you're sitting there right now and you have back pain, neck pain, headaches, numbness and tingling in your arms or legs, fatigue, hormone imbalances, digestive issues, let alone some of the major stuff like heart disease, cancer, diabetes. If you have symptoms of any kind, that means that part of your body's already functioning at 60% or below. And you might think, well, I just woke up yesterday and got this headache. Well, if it's something you deal with on a semi-regular basis, like once a week or twice a week, more than likely you've got some kind of more serious dysfunction happening underneath the surface. And it's just that the symptoms kind of come and go. And that's really how it works. So again, the point is that health is all about function. Why does this matter? Well, inflammation impacts how your body functions, right? Now, what you need to know about inflammation is that because it's such a buzzword in the health space today, most people hear the word inflammation and they think, oh, inflammation's bad. Mm-hmm. You shouldn't have any inflammation. We got to de-inflame everything. Let's never, inflammation's totally bad. That's not true, right? There's nothing that your body does that's bad as long as it's happening within the confines of how it's supposed to happen and in the right amounts, right? Just like you can go out in the freezing cold, your body starts to shiver. That's not a bad thing until you freeze to death, right? Or you go out, you sit in a sauna that's 200 degrees and you're sweating your butt off. That's not a bad thing until you die from dehydration. Something like, you guys get my drift. So your body is supposed to be able to express itself through the inflammatory process because it's part of the basic immune system function. It also helps with natural healing. It helps fight off injuries, infections, bacteria. Listen, if you were to measure inflammatory markers of a woman right after she's given birth, her I've heard, right? We have 4 kids. I've seen it, not experienced it, but I've seen it. So inflammatory markers in that situation, sky high. That's not a bad thing. That's how the woman's body is starting to repair itself and heal. Same thing with if you have a cold or a flu, you're fighting something, your body should be inflamed. If you sprain your ankle, that ankle should be red hot and swollen and painful because the inflammation is a sign that your body is healing it. So we don't want to get rid of inflammation altogether. Where it gets dangerous is when inflammation gets out of control, right? And so here's, and these are just some examples, right? Inflammation is not all bad, but there's 2 pathways that you need to understand. These are really basic, but these will totally change your paradigm around inflammation and help you think about it more correctly. There's acute inflammation, which means something that happens right now. And then there's chronic, which means something that happens over and over and over again all the time. Acute inflammation means there's a stimulus, like you sprain your ankle, there's an immune system response, your body sends white blood cells, and all it needs to, debride the injury and get rid of the metabolic byproducts as your body's repairing itself and laying down new tissues and everything else, circulation. And then there's healing, and then the inflammation process stops, right? Same thing happens when you have a cold or a flu. And then there's chronic inflammation, which would be like if you kept spraining your ankle every other day. Well, that process never stops, and eventually it's going to have a detrimental effect on your body, right? Because your immune system shouldn't be in high drive or overdrive all the time, right? This is actually where a lot of autoimmune issues come from. Autoimmunity is not something that happens just because you have bad genes or because it runs in your family. That's not it ever. That's terrible advice. If someone ever told you that, it's not correct at all. What happens is there's this stimulus, and for some people it's gluten, for some people it's sugar, for some people it's stress. We're going to talk about those things tonight, how to identify and avoid those things. But there's this repetitive stimulus that continues to activate the immune response way more than it's supposed to. And then eventually the body gets conditioned to doing that and it starts attacking itself. And people say, oh, I have Crohn's disease, I got to take this drug. And then there's never any investigation into figuring out what's the repetitive stimulus at the top of the stream, way upstream at the top of the funnel that's eventually leading the body to do this. Because again, the body is either always smart or it's always stupid. It can't be both. What do I mean by that? Well, the fact that your body is responding in a certain way, even with the fact or the situation with high blood pressure is not a bad thing. High cholesterol is not a bad thing. Your immune response is not a bad thing unless it keeps happening over and over and over again. And then the mistake that people make is they see these symptoms or what are actually just the body's reaction to its current environment. And they think, oh, my body's doing something bad. I need to take a medication to force my body to stop doing that bad thing. Like take a medication to force my blood pressure down, or take a medication to force my cholesterol down, or take a medication to help me digest food and, not have diarrhea or constipation or something like that. And they're just forcing their body into a physiological response that the body actually doesn't want to do. And that's why medications never have a positive long-term effect, is because they never, ever, ever, listen to this, medications never address the underlying cause of the problem. Think about this. The cause of your headache is never a lack of ibuprofen in your head. The cause of high blood pressure is not a lack of lisinopril in your heart. The cause of indigestion is not a lack of Pepto-Bismol in your stomach. There's always an underlying cause. And so when it comes to inflammation, what we have to do is we have to identify what is the stimulus that's triggering the inflammatory response, fix that so the body can start doing what it's supposed to do. Yeah. And through that, you can see amazing, amazing healing. You're going to hear a story about that in just a minute. And here's the downside. It's downside, but it's also ironic, because you might be thinking, well, I don't take any heavy duty prescription drugs, but you might be taking aspirin or ibuprofen or Tylenol or something like that. Listen to this. For every $1 that's spent on non-steroidal anti-inflammatories, the average American spends an extra 66 cents eventually, not right away, but eventually treating the side effects. And that's not even a prescription. We're talking about over-the-counter stuff that most people carry in their purse just in case, which just in case turns into 3 to 5 times a week because you get what everybody else at the office gets. And so people think it's normal. We normalize pain and medications to palliate the pain. But the reality is you're taking the cheap and easy way now because you're not fixing the cause. You're gonna spend more money in the future treating the side effects and still not actually fix the underlying cause of the problem, right? So you're not getting off easy just by popping pills and covering the symptoms, which if you're listening to this, I know you don't want to do that anyway. I'm just saying, in order to be truly healthy, we're going to find and fix the underlying cause of the problem.
I want to interrupt you for a moment because there's something that just made me start thinking when Dr. Ryan shared about the car analogy. You know, if you really think about it, I know I am this way, but as soon as my car has the oil, like check oil engine light comes on, or my tire pressure is low, like immediately you're getting the car into the shop, you're getting it fixed, right? Like that's a non-negotiable. You have to have your car working. But our body is constantly giving us the same signals, but we are so used to them and they're so common that we think that they're normal. And these are the symptoms that are just brewing this chronic low-grade inflammation in the body, which ultimately leads to disease. So take care of yourself. You are more important than your car.
Yeah, just because everybody else on the block has a check engine light that's on doesn't mean it's normal, right? Exactly. And the cool thing is, unlike your car, your body has the ability to heal itself, right? Your body has this innate or inborn intelligence that God put in there that's designed to heal you, right? And that's not a weird thing. I mean, if you cut your hand without even thinking about it, that cut heals. What is that? That's innate intelligence. That's inborn power that your body has that only a live body has. A dead body doesn't have it, even though the parts and the pieces are the same. That's the definition of life, is as long as your body still has that power to heal, you're alive. And as long as you're alive, your body can heal and overcome from just about anything. But you have to take action. You can't just sit around and wait for it to happen. So these are the 5 keys to heal inflammation. We're going to go through these. And again, if you have comments or questions, go ahead and post them. Practical action steps, whatever it might be. Just let us know and we'll take our time getting through this stuff. So number 1 is to reduce stress. And when you look at this list, by the way, you might think like, oh, you know, this is easy, common sense stuff. Like maybe I can tune out now because I already know all this. That's great. There's a difference in knowing and doing, right? And one of my favorite sayings is to know and not to do is not to know. So if you know this, but you're not doing it, you don't actually know it, right? You understand it, but you don't know it, because if you knew it, you would do it. Okay. So reduce stress. Why is stress inflammatory? It's because it raises your cortisol levels. Cortisol is your stress hormone. Cortisol increases inflammation in your body. Just again, like the pregnant mom giving birth to a baby analogy, right after delivery, that mom's cortisol levels are sky high. Why? Because cortisol is the stress hormone. It also increases and facilitates the inflammatory response. Good if you just had a baby, not good every day at 6 o'clock after a full day of being stressed out like this guy, right? So in order to reduce stress, and here's the thing, like you're never going to get rid of stress and you wouldn't want to anyway. A little bit of stress is a good thing. Stress on a muscle is a good thing. Work stress to hit a deadline or break through the next level or reach another demographic, if you're in sales or whatever it might be, stress can be a very, very good thing. Too much stress is a bad thing. So we want to use stress and leverage stress to our advantage. We don't want stress to overcome us. And the way you do this is you have to have intention. You have to have a plan. You can't wait until you feel like this guy and then go, oh gosh, like I better, hire a shrink or go on vacation or have a midlife crisis or whatever. Like that's not going to do it. You got to find and fix the underlying cause. So here's what I would recommend. Number 1, get enough sleep. You might think, duh, that's easy. Well, are you doing it? The average American, according to statistics, gets about 5.5 to 6 hours of sleep a night. It's not enough. Statistics literally show that if you don't get at least 7 to 8 hours of sleep a night, you die early, and it's up to a decade early. Think about that. The last decade of your life that you could be spending, enjoying your golden years with your family, your kids, your grandkids, great-grandkids, hopefully. You miss out on all that just because you weren't disciplined enough to get enough sleep. So you got to get 7 to 8 hours of sleep per night. Number 2, write down 3 things that you're grateful for every day. This is huge, huge, huge. I can't stress this enough. And you can't just wake up in the morning and think 3 things to yourself real quick and then on with your day. Your brain has to see your hand writing them down on paper, not texting it to yourself in a memo or typing it on your laptop, writing it old school on paper. There's just something neurochemically that's been able to be measured literally by scientists. When your brain sees your hands writing on paper, especially 3 things you're grateful for, it does something in your brain. And the interesting thing is that when your brain enters a state of gratitude, it's been shown through research and brain mapping that it's the same center of your brain that's also active when you're in a state of anxiety or depression. And you can't be both simultaneously. So what does that mean? If you're in a state of gratitude, you can't be anxious or depressed. You might feel anxious or depressed. 6 out of 10 Americans are, according to statistics. If you set the intention and you grab a hold of your life, you take every thought captive, like the Bible says, and you bring it into submission, you control your thoughts. You think about what you're thinking about. You can change the way your brain fires just by getting into a state of gratitude. The next one is box breathing. This is something that the Navy SEALs do. Obviously, you want to talk about stressful situations. These guys are under a lot of it. But this is something they do in the field in the heat of battle. And I've done this hundreds, if not thousands of times over the last several years. And I can tell you it works like magic. Like literally there's almost nothing that changes my physiological state in under 60 seconds as fast as this does. And it's box breathing. So you would take a 4-second inhale, hold it, 4-second exhale, hold it for 4. It's like a box. That's where the box comes from. It reduces your cortisol levels. Studies have been able to prove that through blood work. Next one is serve someone in need. When you're thinking about someone else and you're helping someone else, you're not thinking about yourself. That one's obvious. And the last one, this is probably the most difficult one. And this would be the one that I would challenge you. If you're feeling bold, just do this and maybe just commit to doing 1 day a week where you're fasting from social media. Just think about it this way. Think to yourself, when was the last time you spent an hour on social media and afterward you just felt fantastic about yourself? Like, man, my life is so good. I'm so proud of everything I've accomplished. I look good. My kids look good. No. Why? Because everybody posts their highlight reel, not their behind the scenes, right? So meanwhile, you think that your life sucks, you're ugly, you're overweight, your kids are, disobedient. Yeah, it's like, well, if you actually hung out with those people, you'd realize we're all similar. Mm-hmm. But social media and the news, the news, does the news talk about like positive stuff and people overcoming, challenges and victories? And no, because fear sells and bad stuff sells, unfortunately. So my challenge to you is try turning it off just for 1 day a week and just see what happens. Like literally put your phone in a drawer, right? The emails can be answered later. The texts can be answered later. Set up an autoresponder if you're really worried about the world stopping while you're not checking your phone, and just try it for a day. It's going to be hard. You're going to feel weird. You might get the itch, but it's okay. You'll get through it. Highly recommend it.
Okay, number 2, hydration. I will tell you, I meet with people every single day, and for the most part, most people are not drinking enough water. There goes Dr. Ryan drinking his water right now. So 50 to 60% of your body, actually 60% of your body should be made up of water. And water is incredibly important for your health. One of the main components and functions of water is that it actually transports the nutrients throughout your body. It also is really important for managing inflammation. And when you think about like joint pain, knee pain, hip pain, turning the fan on, water is what lubricates our joints, our tendons, our ligaments. So on average, just a rule of thumb for what you can follow is that you want to drink half of your body weight in ounces. So if you're 200 pounds, that's 100 ounces of water. I will tell you though, that there are certain things that you are drinking that's actually dehydrating you. So things like soda pop, coffee, caffeinated teas, alcohol, those things are counterintuitive. So not only do you need to drink your half your body weight in ounces, but you actually need to increase on top of that as well. Some of the tips and tricks that I share with people when it comes to hydration is, and oftentimes I'll have people tell me that they feel like they're drinking water all the time, but they still feel very dehydrated. And it's because there is a difference between just drinking water and then actually hydrating your body at the cellular level. So one tip that you can start doing tomorrow is that you drink an electrolyte, add electrolytes to your water, or add a pinch of sea salt to your water. And this is going to help hydrate you at the cellular level. So some of my favorite brands is Element, LMNT, which you can get online. Very salty, very delicious. You can also go to Natural Grocers or Pilgrims, or you guys, even Walmart carries it, but there's a brand called Ultima that's got no junk in it. It's just straight up magnesium, sodium, and potassium. And then the other trick is just to drink your water earlier in the day. I don't recommend just chugging a big old bottle of water at one time. You actually want to be sipping and drinking throughout the duration of the day. Your body only can hold and store so much water at one time. And it is not like a gas tank. Like, you actually need to replenish your water every single day. So what you have today will not be here tomorrow, just based off of basic physiological function of your body. So hydrate, hydrate, hydrate.
Yeah. And this is very, very, very important if you drink coffee. So most people drink coffee daily. I love coffee. It's one of my vices. But I just read an article that showed that if you drink 12 ounces of coffee in the morning, you're already, because it's a diuretic and it makes you pee. And when you pee, you also pull with it electrolytes and trace minerals. And so when you drink coffee in the morning, even just 12 ounces, you're already at least 1,000 milligram deficit of sodium for the day. So what that means is
and potassium.
And potassium. So you have to, at least salt your food a bunch, or stop the coffee, or supplement, and I would recommend supplement. In fact, if you looked at humans today versus humans just a couple of 100 years ago, I mean, on average, we consume about 1/10 of the amount of sodium today comparatively from just a couple 100 years ago.
Yeah.
And people are really worried about heart disease and blood pressure and arterial sclerosis and cholesterol and all those things. If you actually look at the real literature from the leading experts in the world, they've totally debunked that. High quality, good salt, along with exercise, hydration, right? You can't just eat a bunch of salty potato chips and call it good. It's actually good for your heart. We can talk more about that at a different time, but don't be afraid of salt. Just know that your body needs it. All right. One of my buddies from chiropractic school, big influencer in the nutrition space. He's a chiropractor, but he's one of the leading influencers online in terms of nutrition and health advice. Dr. David Jockers, one of my favorite quotes is, "Food can either be the safest and most powerful form of medicine or the slowest form of poison." I want you to think about that for a minute, because like we always talk about in our workshops, is everything that you put into your mouth is a vote for your future self, your future state of health. So, I mean, many of you are either cooking dinner right now or you're about to. Whatever you put in your mouth in the next hour, that's a vote for your future self, your future state of health, right? And where you are today and where you will be in the future, it's not by accident, right? You're casting a vote. So we really want to pay attention to what we put in our mouths on a regular basis. Doesn't mean you can't splurge and have a vacation meal every now and again. But really, when it comes to inflammation, we want to be minimizing these inflammatory foods as much as we can.
Yes. So this is a list. It's a pretty exhaustive list of the most pro-inflammatory foods that are out there. And it's what we call the crap food. I feel like I can kind of get on my soapbox and talk about this, because this used to be my life. These foods used to consume the majority of my diet. And I can tell you, I paid the price with my health and my energy levels. So it's a big list. I think as you guys are reading through this, you can even take a screenshot or take your phone out and take a picture of this. But it's not like, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to understand that these foods are bad for you, right? These are the unhealthy foods. So if I was to prioritize, and what I recommend doing is that out of this whole list of foods, the first place where I recommend changing up your diet is with seed oils. So vegetable oil, any hydrogenated, partially hydrogenated oils, corn oil, soybean oil, canola oil, sunflower oil. These oils are very detrimental to your health. They are highly unstable. They oxidize easily. They become rancid easily. And this is going to cause major damage to your cells, and it's going to cause major inflammation in your body. So you have to be a food detective. You have to read labels. Almost every processed food, Every fast food, every food cooked at a restaurant has these bad oils in them. They're what we call omega-6 pro-inflammatory oils. And so we just live in a state right now where, as Americans, we are consuming way more of these pro-inflammatory omega-6 oils versus the omega-3 oils, which are the anti-inflammatory. So this would be the number one place that I would start. If you have canola oil at home, right after we're done, I want you to go get it out of your pantry and I want you to throw it in the garbage, and you will just reap the benefits for your health, I promise you. The second place would be really looking at the processed and refined carbohydrates that you're eating. First of all, they're all going to have these bad oils in them. And then secondly, they are so processed that they contain no nutrients anymore. So this is where we get into trouble, where we're eating tons of food that have little nutrients. It's like we like to always say that we are an overfed, undernourished state in like society, and it's because of these highly processed foods. There's no nutritional value or content. They are creating inflammation in the body because most oftentimes these are the foods that convert to sugar in your body and spike your blood sugar, create inflammation. And so you want to make a switch here as well. Decrease the amount that you're eating. And then the last place, or the third place where I would focus, is on your animal protein. We always like to share with everyone that you are what you eat, but you are what you ate. And so conventional cows, the dairy cows, they actually receive the highest amount of antibiotics of anyone in our country. So not only are you consuming those antibiotics, but you're also getting any hormones that may have been used, any medications that may have been used. God created these animals to eat grass, not GMO grain. And so they get sick and they need medications to make them healthy. And we just end up getting those as well in our food. So quality of animal protein is really, really important. So those three, okay, so the bad oils, the processed refined carbs, and then your animal protein, those are where you want to make changes. They'll have huge benefits to your health.
Yeah, and that's the irony, is that if you look at what we're doing to these cows, and it's making them sick. If you look at the health and the longevity of these cows that are fed antibiotics, GMO corn or grain, they're pumped full of medications, and yeah, they just get really big, really fast, and they don't last very long. And yet we turn around and we're doing the same things to ourselves as standard Americans, and it's making us sick too. So
yep.
Yes. Anyway. Okay. So what can you eat? I noticed there's a root beer float in the background of that one.
Oh gosh,
It actually looks pretty good. It's been a minute since I had one of those. Good old A&W.
I know. I grew up going to A&W.
Anyway.
Okay, so what can you eat? There's so much you can eat. That's the amazing part, is that sometimes when you're switching from the standard American diet to a whole foods diet, you're just like, well, I'm going to starve all the time. I'm going to be deprived. But you're not. So we always like to share with our patients, food by God, not by man, and you can't go wrong. So again, this is a pretty extensive list of really good foods that are anti-inflammatory to the body. Where I would focus and prioritize, if I just told you to stop eating the bad oils, then I want you to start eating the good oils. So good healthy oils that are rich in omega-3s, so nuts and seeds, wild caught salmon, and then the good oils like, even though some are saturated fats, but the avocado oil, the unrefined organic coconut oil, the unrefined extra virgin olive oil, those are really great places or really great ways to start adding in foods that are going to help fight inflammation. And then, of course, the quality of the protein. But then there's other things. So vegetables have tons of nutrients and phytonutrients in there that are really good for helping to manage inflammation. They help to alkalize the body. And so, yeah, real whole food. You can't go wrong. We have eating plans. Max Living has eating plans. If you feel like that list that Dr. Ryan shared in the beginning, with all of the inflammatory conditions, if you feel like you're suffering from any of those, the advanced plan that we share about and have created at the clinic is just the perfect way to eat for you. And I'd be happy to share resources for that. Just type in the comments if that's something that you need help with, or you can ask when you're in the clinic again. there are some good questions. I see what kind of grains. So
Yep.
you want to avoid the highly processed grains and you want to go for ancient grains. So the better choice would be things like quinoa. You can get sprouted oats. You can even get like brown rice, wild rice. So more of the ancient grains, not the processed grains.
Yeah.
That's found in so many foods.
Yeah, and I just want to jump in there too. My brain works really well if I can think in terms of concepts and principles. So like you mentioned, the eat food by God, not food by man. That's a principle, and that's like a rudder on the ship of my decision making. If I just remember that principle, and it comes time to make a decision, what do I eat? What do I buy at the grocery store? What do I order on Amazon? Whatever. If I just follow that principle, that answers a lot of questions. Yeah. Well, is this a food by God or food by man? Another principle is the 1 degree of separation rule. So think about this. If you were to look at and take inventory of everything you just ate today, how many of those foods were at least 1 degree of separation from nature or less? What does that mean? Well, if I have an apple, that's 0 degrees of separation from nature. Why? Because I could go outside, pick an apple off the tree, and it would be the same exact thing. That's 0 degrees of separation from nature. Well, you might think, well, what if I have a Larabar, right? And a Larabar, most of the time, the ones I eat, the peanut butter cookie ones or the cashew cookie ones, are usually like 4 ingredients. It's like dates and peanuts or almonds and a couple other things. I don't even know. But it's like 4 things, right? And they're all natural. But there's still a degree of separation because I can't go find a Larabar plant. Believe me, I would have planted a bunch in my yard if there was, because they're awesome. Anyway, but there's still a degree of separation because there's the natural ingredients. Someone had to get those ingredients, put them together, put it in a little package, and it ends up in my backpack, right? There's a degree of separation, but that's it. There wasn't any more processing. And so when you're going through these lists, we're getting a lot of good questions about this, but when you're going through this list, number one, the 1 degree of separation rule or less. So when it comes to grains, like you said, ancient grains, 0 degrees of separation, whole grains, sprouted grains, even better, almost, 1 or 0 degrees of separation. But when it comes to processed grains, like white bread is like a bunch of degrees of separation because you just can't make white bread from natural, like things the way you find them in nature. You've got to refine and take out, put in stuff. It's just not how it's found in nature. So the 1 degree of separation rule will help you answer a lot of these questions. The other thing is when it comes to trying to figure out where to start, Cece did a good job of giving you a starting point earlier. Like I would just say, like, don't worry. Like one of the items on here is high glycemic fruit. What's a high glycemic fruit? Well, the sweeter the fruit, the higher the glycemic index. So like a banana, pretty high. Pineapple, pretty high. Granny Smith apple, really low. That's why it's bitter and you don't like it because it's bitter and there's not a lot of fructose in it, right? But don't worry about the high glycemic fruits if you're just going to turn around and use a bunch of artificial sweeteners and use a bunch of canola oil and, feedlot beef and that kind of stuff. Like, don't do that stuff and then try to watch the bananas that you're eating. You know what I mean? Right. Like, go ahead and have the banana, but cut out the other stuff first. Now, eventually, if you could get to where you're minimizing all this, that would be fantastic, but that's pretty overwhelming. And just start with one thing at a time, right? Yes. Okay. So again, you guys can rewind this later, take screenshots. If you're curious about learning more about the advanced plan versus the core plan, there is some information on our website. Personally, I think the best thing to do is set up a consultation time with Cece so she can walk you through it and get an idea of where you're at currently and give you action steps. We'll talk a little bit more about that here in the next few minutes. And then the next one is take anti-inflammatory supplements, okay? There are lots of supplements out there that are anti-inflammatory. These 3 are the ones that we give our patients in the office when they have chronic pain issues or their body is clearly inflamed and manifesting as some kind of chronic disease, right? And the 3 are curcumin, which is the same thing as turmeric. All the time I get people that say, well, I'm taking turmeric. Curcumin is turmeric. Curcumin is the active ingredient in turmeric, okay? So if you're taking turmeric, which looks like ginger, it's just bright orange. That's a picture of it right there, probably. If you cut it open, it'd be bright orange. Joint health, which we'll talk about in a minute, it's actually a bunch of ingredients in a proprietary blend that Max Living created for joint health specifically. It helps lubricate the joints. And then collagen. The reason why this one's important is because collagen makes up connective tissue in your body. So hair, skin, and nails, but also ligaments, tendons, muscle, fascia, connective tissues. So why don't you talk a little bit about the supplements, and I'll talk about why I like Max Living better than most.
Okay, so, well, you kind of hit the main points for all of them, but again, curcumin, biggest benefit is reducing inflammation. So anti-inflammatory, but it also helps you with fighting free radicals. So it's a lot of antioxidant properties. You cannot overdo it with curcumin. So that's one thing people ask me all the time. Is there too much? Like is there so much as too much? It's a natural herb. It's a food. So you can't overdo it. There are some properties that make it better, like make our brand better. And I know Dr. Ryan wants to talk about this, but this curcumin UP60, it's 10 times better bioavailability than any other curcumin that is out there. I will tell you, we have gone back and forth because we used to have a curcumin formula that had black pepper in it. And so people are still on the bandwagon that like you have to have this black pepper in order to use it. We have found that a lot of people get irritation and it disrupts the digestion. So we actually purposefully remove that out of our curcumin plus. So the way it's formulated, the way it's packaged is all based off of scientific research. So you can be rest assured this is one of the best curcumins that you can take.
Yeah. So if you're still taking the old stuff because you bought a bunch last time we did one of these and put it on sale, that's still really, really great. If you don't get any upset stomach or acid reflux type symptoms from it, great. Keep taking that. And then once you start taking the version that doesn't have the black pepper, just eat some more black pepper on your food next time you eat food, right?
Yep.
So, I mean, black pepper does help with absorption. But like Cece said, it can upset some people's stomach that are just sensitive to that spice.
So we recommend this supplement for like everyone and everything. So when you
yeah,
talk
and I
about
mean, literally every single day in the clinic, because I'm a chiropractor. What do people go to the chiropractor for? Typically, it's back pain, neck pain, headaches, it's chronic pain conditions. Curcumin is nature's ibuprofen. It just is. And there's zero side effects. Like Cece said, worst case scenario is you end up peeing out some excess because you took too much of it. I mean, I have most of our patients that come in a lot of pain. I'll have them take 200 milligrams every 4 hours, which is 2 capsules of what we have, but every 4 hours throughout the day. So if you wake up at 6, you're taking one at 6, 10, 2, 6, and maybe even 10 at night, depending on how late you stay up, just for a short period of time. Now, that's not something you do ongoing. But there are also so many other benefits to curcumin. We had someone comment about the newsletter that we just put out in the office today. Yeah, I mean, there's so many articles out there supporting the efficacy and the validity and necessity for curcumin, just way beyond chronic pain, but things like high blood pressure, cognitive function, immune system function, it's anti-cancer. There's just a lot of really great health benefits to it. And so this is just real quick, because we're going to talk about the other two as well. But the reason why I love the Max Living brand, it's not just because we're a Max Living office. I mean, honestly, if there was another brand out there that had higher quality stuff, I wouldn't care to put that, I wouldn't care about putting that on our shelves and taking that for me and my family. But I have not found a better product out there. And it's simply because Max Living's quality standards are super, super, super high. In fact, we abide by the Pure Path standard of supplementation manufacturing and formulation. And we have a satisfaction guarantee. So like if you ever take anything of ours, you don't like it, your body disagrees with it, we give you 30 days to bring it back, give you a refund. But you can see all the certifications on the bottom. I mean, all the Max Living stuff, the Pure Path standards are everything's non-GMO, everything's FDA registered, everything's gluten-free, everything is organic. You're never going to find any fillers or artificial flavors, or I mean, even our protein powder is sweetened with stevia and erythritol, and it's like real cacao powder. Like there's nothing fake in any of it. So it's what I personally take. Me and my family, our kids take it, for the last decade. I haven't found anything better. So, you get what you pay for. And that's really it. When it comes to supplements, whether you take our stuff or someone else's, it's about bioavailability. So if you're not investigating or researching the bioavailability scores of the supplements that you're taking, unfortunately, there's so many companies every year they get busted for selling supplements. And then someone does, a third-party investigation. They figure out, just to name a few, like in the last few years, Walmart, Target, GNC, some of the major brands, a couple other major brands got busted for selling supplements that, they would have a third party test it. And it's like, oh, you're paying for 1,000 milligrams of vitamin C, for example, but you're only getting 200 milligrams. So there's only actually 20% of the actual supplement in there. What does that mean? Well, you've got to take 5 times as much, plus what else is in there? If it's not vitamin C, what is it? And that's the scary part to me. It's not just about not getting the right amount of supplement, relative to what you think you're taking, but it's about, well, what else is it? Because it's got to be something. They're not just filling space with air. So that's the scary part to me.
Yeah, it's the most under-regulated industry that there is right now. Supplements are.
Yeah.
And we test patients all the time for their nutrients, and we will have patients that are on $600 worth of supplements, and I have to break the news to them that they're still deficient in the supplements that they're taking. So quality and absorbability is huge.
Yeah.
Okay, max collagen. You guys, collagen is so incredibly important. It's the most abundant protein in the body. It is literally the glue that holds you together. So 90% of connective tissues and bone mass, and it also makes up 70% of our skin. So ladies, if you want to look good and have less wrinkles, you need to focus on your collagen. But it's really important.
I take a lot of it. Can you tell?
Yeah, I can tell. Can you tell I do too? Collagen also, not only does it help manage inflammation, it's really important for your bone health, your tendons, your ligaments, your joints, but it also is really important for your gut health. And your gut is huge. When I think about what dysfunction leads to that chronic low-grade inflammation, and it's your digestive health. So collagen is really important. Once you hit the age 20, which I saw many moons ago, your production of collagen decreases dramatically. I think by 40, you produce maybe about half the collagen that you need to. So we have an amazing max collagen. Our protein is all hydrolyzed, so it has better absorption in your body. And we also have some trademark ingredients in there as well. So it also has 40 bone, which has the potential to improve mineral density and the organic contents of your bone. And this is all based off of research, okay? It's got the Fortigel, which is designed to improve collagen production in joints. And then it's got Verisol, which is designed to support the synthesis of the collagen in your skin. So lots of key trademark ingredients in the Max Collagen that you can't find anywhere else.
And this is another one, like when people come in to the office for chronic pain conditions, especially if you've had like a whiplash injury, and so there might be soft tissue damage in your spine or ligaments around your spine, or if you have a disc issue, like if you have degenerative disc disease or like a bulging disc, herniated disc, you have to be taking collagen. And I'll just say it as my professional opinion is that you have to be taking collagen. It's literally the building blocks that your body's going to use to repair those tissues. I've had a torn Achilles tendon 4 years ago that I naturally healed from after being told I had to have surgery. It was a 2-centimeter separation. Took collagen, my body healed itself. I've had 2 herniated discs, my L5 disc, to the point where, I thought I might need surgery. And again, and it's not just taking collagen and sitting on the couch. Obviously, there's a lot of rehab and other things that I did along with it. But your body, you have to give it the ingredients that it needs. Like I talked about earlier, you have this innate intelligence that heals a cut on your skin or helps you heal from cold or flu or chronic pain condition. But you have to support that healing power, that innate intelligence, with the right nutrients, right? Otherwise, it's like having the master chef in your body that's ready to prepare this masterpiece, and it doesn't have any ingredients, right? You got to give it what it needs. And the last one, joint health.
Yep. So joint health, this was a great combination of ingredients that Max Living has put together based off of science and research. Again, it's focused on reducing inflammation, helping to support good, healthy joint health. There are some key nutrients in here. So like the boswellia, it's an anti-inflammatory. We've got other nutrients that help with the lubrication and the protecting of joints. It's got ginger in there. So that helps reduce inflammation as well. And then it's got collagen, but there are a bazillion different types of collagen, and they each they function differently in the body. So it's got collagen type 1 and type 2, which is specific to helping heal cartilage damage. So we have found that the combination of all three of these supplements together is like a powerhouse for our patients.
Yeah.
And we ask them, we get feedback from them, and they've had some massive improvements, reducing inflammation, reducing pain, reducing the duration of the pain that they're experiencing as well.
Yeah. So like Cece said, I mean, this like every single day, I recommend patients these three supplements. Like if you come and see us and you have chronic back pain, neck pain, headaches, numbness and tingling in your arms, or you have something more serious going on, if there's inflammation involved, 9 times out of 10, I'm recommending these three supplements for at least a month. A lot of people need to take these things for 90 days to give their body a little extra time to heal. But it's not a forever thing, right? We're just talking about getting the inflammation down, giving your body the ingredients that it needs to repair. Meanwhile, implementing some of these lifestyle action steps that we're going over tonight to reduce inflammation naturally and through lifestyle. This is like just putting the training wheels on and giving you a little boost so that it happens faster. So if you're watching tonight, actually, we're going to leave this up for a week. So as long as you watch this webinar before the end of Friday, Cece's going to put a link in the comments section to a special discount code. And if you purchase through the discount code, you'll get the 15% off. And then if you don't live local, we will ship you the supplements. If you do live local, we'll set them aside in the clinic. You can pick them up. I mean, they're ready to go right now. You buy this tonight, you swing by in the morning, you can grab your bundle right then and there. And the payment process is through Stripe, which is a vetted, a common, e-commerce platform, and,
Very safe.
Yeah, very, very safe. And yeah, so anyway, take advantage of that. It's 15% off, just for the duration of the webinar. So like I said, tonight, and then through Friday. The only thing is if you wait till Friday, there may be we might have to order it, and then you're sitting around waiting for it for a week or two. So anyway, if you want to get this stuff at a discount, a lot of people this time of year, just because with inclement weather, slips, trips and falls, a lot of people just have higher levels of pain on average in the winter months, either because it's colder or because of seasonal affect or whatever it is. A lot of people just report having more pain over the winter months. Might not be a bad idea to up some of this stuff just a bit to help you get through the winter months.
Okay, I have someone asking if they can purchase them at the office versus buying them at the link.
Yes, you can, but you got to prove that you were on the webinar. So take a screenshot. Mm-hmm. No, that's totally fine. Yeah, we just want to get these resources in your hands. So that's the main thing. I mean, if you go to my house right now and you were to open up our pantry cupboard, all this stuff is in there. I mean, I take curcumin and collagen on a regular basis. The collagen goes in my smoothie every single morning. Why? Because I have a lot of old sports injuries that my body is still in the process of healing and maintaining. And then curcumin, because my body's inflamed all the time. And not because of my diet or anything else, just I work out hard, right? Whether it's ultra marathons or Ironman triathlons or just working out and keeping up with my kids or skiing hard or hunting hard or whatever it is. Curcumin is one of those things that you should take on a regular basis. And then joint health every now and again if I have a joint issue specifically. Okay, number 4, move your body. Again, I know these are really basic, but to know and not to do is not to know. So you might think you know this, but are you doing it? And move your body should be something that you do all the time, not 3 days a week at the gym, right? I mean, you think ancestrally just for a minute, in the old days, for thousands of years, really, we moved our bodies every single day, and we moved them a lot. In fact, there was a book called The Blue Zones that came out several years ago, and they looked at these 5 different communities of people around the world that had the highest percentage of centenarians or people that lived past 100. And the number one thing that they all had in common, it's interesting because you would have thought like, oh, they all eat the same diet. No, they don't. They all have the same social, habits, interactions. Not really. The only thing that they all had in common was that they all moved their body every single day and quite a bit, whether it was walking miles to get water or walking up and down steep terrain, just getting to and from places. You've got to move your body. An object in motion stays in motion, right? Figuratively and literally, your body will live and last longer if you stay in motion. So a couple of tips. Number 1, do some form of exercise every day. If you're not breathing hard and sweating a little bit, that's not exercise. Okay. I just want to define what exercise actually is. You got to be breathing hard or harder than normal and sweating at least a little bit. Okay. That's exercise. Take the stairs instead of an elevator. And I'm not just talking about, up to the refrigerator. I'm talking about a bunch of them. Set your timer at your desk to get up and move every 30 minutes. Again, movement is good. That's not necessarily exercise unless you're breathing hard and sweating a little bit. So if you want to spice it up, maybe do some burpees, jumping jacks, maybe run around the building, come back, go back to your Zoom meeting or whatever it was. Consider using a standing desk. It's amazing. I read a book by Kelly Starrett a few years ago called Desk Bound, and he referenced a statistic that showed something like when people worked at a standing desk, they burned like 20 to 30% more calories per day than the person right next to them doing the same exact job, just sitting. Why? Well, because it takes energy to stand up instead of sitting down. Anyway, use a standing desk. Incorporate a daily stretching routine like yoga or Tai Chi. Again, if you're not breathing hard or sweating, that's not exercise. Stretching is good, but not exercise. Unless you're doing it, hard, I guess. Do short bouts of exercise throughout the day. Again, I talked about this: push-ups, body squats, jumping jacks, burpees, whatever you want to do. A wrestling match with your kids. Xavier and I had a wrestling match last night. I got breathing a little hard, sweat a little bit of exercise.
When I show my kids how to do those old school dance moves to MC Hammer, you guys, I sweat. So you can have a dance party.
Hey, it's not easy doing the electric slide. Okay, so that's move your body. I mean, the reality is there are a million different forms of exercise out there. They're all great as long as you're breathing hard, heart rate's up, and you're sweating a little bit. Okay. Number 5, get to the cause. Referencing back to what I said at the very beginning, the definition of health is function. Health equals function. So if your body is expressing symptoms, pain or symptoms, or you already moved into the realm of disease, right? Your body is not functioning properly. You might think like, oh, I'm typically a healthy person. Well, if you have any symptom chronically, right? Like, which means like I've had people say, I don't have any symptoms. Then I ask them, I dig a little deeper, and it's like, well, I get headaches. How often? Like once or twice a week. That's 52 to 104 headaches a year. That's a chronic issue. That's not just because your neighbor or your coworker has that doesn't mean it's normal. Like that's a thing. That's not just like I have a headache because I, had too much red wine last night and stayed up too late. Like, okay, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about things that happen on a regular basis. There is something dysfunctional in your body. As hard as that is to hear, if you have symptoms of any kind that happen on a regular basis, your body's in a state of dysfunction. And in order for us to help you with that, or you to help yourself, you got to find and get to the cause. And the reason why I bring this up is, as a chiropractor, this is exactly what we do. DC stands for Doctor of Chiropractic. I always say it also stands for Doctor of Cause, because people think you go to the chiropractor for back pain, neck pain, and headaches, and that can be true. But really what we're doing is we're looking at the spine and nervous system, not because that's where your pain comes from, although it can. It's because the nervous system is what controls function. So if we were to back up, zoom out just a little bit and ask the question, okay, if health equals function, then what controls function? Well, all the things that we're talking about tonight influence function, but there's one system of the body that controls function. Just like in the building in here, that we're in, there's one system that runs and controls the appliances and the machinery of everything else. It's the electrical system. And the same is true with your body. And this is not a chiropractic thing. This is just anatomy 101. The nervous system controls and coordinates all organs and structures of the human body. What does that have to do with your spine and nervous system? Well, just like your skull protects your brain, your spinal cord, all the bones, the 24 movable vertebrae in your spine surround and protect the extension of your brain, which is your brainstem, spinal cord, and the nerve roots, which eventually travel out and connect to every single cell, tissue, and organ in your body. So what happens? Well, in life, because of slips, trips, and falls, car accidents, sports injuries, bad posture, repetitive trauma, unilateral movement, like swinging a golf club the same direction your whole life, or doing the same motion one-sided your whole life, it can cause the bones in your spine to shift out of alignment. Sometimes it's a small shift, sometimes it's a big shift, sometimes it's one bone, sometimes it's a whole bunch of them. Either way, whenever your spine is out of alignment or out of its proper position, it's called subluxation. Subluxation is a medical term for just anything that's out of alignment in your spine that causes neurological interference. And this is from the National Board of Chiropractic Examiners. NBCE, it says that subluxation ultimately affects the nervous system and may lead to reduced function, disability, or illness. And you're thinking, well, I thought chiropractors just saw people for bad backs because bad back made my back hurt. Well, it can, but think about this. The same nerve, let's say, that comes out of your lower back also goes to your digestive organs. And so if something's subluxated, putting pressure on that nerve, you might have low back pain, but if that doesn't get fixed, if it's the same nerve that eventually goes to your digestive organs, what do you have? You might have diarrhea, constipation, IBS. If it goes on long enough, you might actually develop an autoimmune condition like leaky gut or Crohn's or ulcerative colitis, because it's the same nerve. If you have neck pain, the same nerve in your neck also controls the function of your heart. And so a subluxation in your neck could cause neck pain or tightness in your upper back or trap pain or tension or even tension headaches. But if it's the same nerve that goes to your heart, it also could lead to, if it doesn't get fixed, could lead to things like high blood pressure, arrhythmias, dysfunctional heart. You get the idea. And the list goes on and on, literally all up and down your entire body. And so that's why subluxation doesn't just cause pain, but subluxation affects the way your body functions. And the reason why I bring this up is because subluxation ultimately causes inflammation. That's what we're talking all about here. Here's a video. Hopefully this works. Maybe. There we go. So watch this video. And this is the most common form of subluxation. You have to have a curve in your neck. And because of forward head posture, car accidents, whiplash, a lot of people, I'd say 8 out of 10 people that walk into our office that we take x-rays of lose the curvature in their neck. Either it goes straight, or if it gets bad enough or long enough, it'll go the other direction. And you can look at the spinal cord. So the yellow thing on the inside of the spine, I'm going to play this one more time. The yellow thing on the inside of the spinal column is the spinal cord. That's the information superhighway your brain communicates with your body through. With a curve, it's nice and intact. There's no interference. As you lose the curve in your neck, it's like bending a banana the wrong direction. It causes inflammation. That's why it turns red on the diagram, and the subsequent nerve roots. Well, if those nerve roots go into the muscles, you might have muscle pain. But if those nerve roots go to things like, let's say, your thyroid or the glands of your immune system or your heart or your lungs, you could end up with any number of symptoms. And so the thing is that this is one of the major sources of inflammation in people's bodies that I see on a regular basis, right? And yes, it can cause pain, but more importantly, it causes dysfunction elsewhere in your body. And so if we're talking about getting to the cause, I'm going to fast forward through a couple of things. If we're talking about getting to the cause of some of these most common signs or symptoms, you've got to pay attention to all 5 essentials, right? You got to pay attention to mental and emotional health. That's the 5 keys that we're talking about. Stress, right? So we got to get stress under control, have strategies to mitigate stress, leverage it, use it for our advantage. We've also got to look at nutrition and proper supplementation. We got to cut out inflammatory foods, eat anti-inflammatory foods. Highly recommend taking those anti-inflammatory supplements. We got to move your body. We didn't talk a whole lot about detox tonight, but detox really goes hand in hand with eating an anti-inflammatory diet. Listen, there's no such thing as eating anti-inflammatory foods that don't also help your body increase its detoxification efficiency and pathways, right? So detox is a part of that as well. And then lastly, spine and move your body. That was number 4. And then your spine and nervous system, right? And again, this is a whole person approach. There's no silver bullet or magic pill, potion, or lotion that just fixes everything. You got to address the whole being. But ultimately, it comes down to finding and correcting the cause of the problem. Where's the inflammation coming from? What's the trigger? What's the lifestyle? What's the habit? What's the thing? And let's fix that so that your body can heal itself. And that's exactly what we're going to give you the opportunity to do tonight if you want to.
Yep. So I run the Max Metabolics program at the clinic. We are basically taking a functional medicine approach to your health, really to address what the root cause is of the symptoms you may be feeling, the diagnosis you may have been given. And again, we like to think of the body, just as Dr. Ryan has shared throughout this entire webinar, you are one amazing being. You are not just a bunch of different parts. So you have to look at how the whole body works together. I love to be able to help people see this whole pattern and path of interconnectedness with everything that they're dealing with. So Lots of different options and how we work in the clinic. One of my favorite things is that we just rolled out a brand new online health questionnaire. It's called the Functional Systems Analysis. It has very specific questions that are directly related to different function and different metabolic pathways in the body. So it's things such as digestion, blood sugar, inflammation, hormone health, you name it, it's in there. And the way that you fill out this online analysis and the way you answer the questions gives me the opportunity to help guide you the best that I can with where to start. So for some people that do this analysis, I might say, hey, you know what, the first thing you need to do is you need to go through chiropractic care. You need to get an analysis of your spine, see where you're at, see how your nervous system is functioning. Some other people, I highly recommend doing some advanced nutrition testing. So we offer lots of different tests. We do full metabolic test that looks at 150 different markers in the body. It's the most amazing test. Your doctor doesn't offer this kind of a test. It really gets to the root cause of imbalances in the body. We do very specific stool testing, hormone testing, you name it, we do it. So that's where we like to say, test, don't guess your way to health. Or maybe based off the information provided, I just have a really great next step for you with nutrition, some lifestyle modifications. I'm really focusing on the 5 essentials and some supplements. So this is just a great opportunity for you to identify where there are imbalances, what could be driving, what's the root cause, and how it's all interconnected.
Well, and the reason why I love this is people today love self-quantification.
Yeah.
Like people love taking tests, surveys, quizzes, because people want to score. Like that's just how we're human, how we're wired, on a DNA level. Like we want to score ourselves. Like, where do we stack up? What's my health score? What's my risk score? And this does that, and there's a lot that was put into this system. And obviously there's a lot that goes into the analysis part of it. So that's why there's a cost to it. So if you were just to come into the office, or if you're a current patient and you're like, hey, I want to do the functional systems analysis and sit down with Cece and go through it, it's $100, which honestly is still a great value, because if you're to do this type of thing at like a functional medicine clinic, you're talking about $400 or $500 easily. And that's not even including like special, lab tests or genetic testing or anything like that. So we charge $100 for it. And what that includes is it includes the functional systems analysis. And it also includes the consultation with Cece. So if you're listening to this and you don't live locally, Cece does this virtually. And so she does virtual consults all the time, telehealth or telemed, if you want to call it that, same thing. And so if you don't live locally, you can still take advantage of the offer that we're going to give you tonight and do this. The part that you'll miss out on is the in-body scan. So normally we charge $30 for people to come in and use the in-body composition scanner. But it's fantastic. I mean, it's way more than a scale. It's way more effective than the little handhold one you do at the gym for free. I think besides like a DEXA or calipers in the hands of someone who's been doing it for decades, because there's a lot of user error there too, it's probably the best tool out there to look at body composition. So body composition looks at all these things. It's these key metabolic markers. I do an in-body on myself at least once a quarter, sometimes more often than that if I'm in the middle of training for something specific. But it looks at body fat mass, body fat percent, water weight, which is very important because you're looking at your hydration levels, muscle mass, lean body mass, and indicators for nutrition. So Cece is able to look at this in-body scan and identify certain areas where you might be missing the mark in terms of your exercise or nutrition. Right? Because a lot of people that we talk to on a regular basis, they feel like they're beating their head against the wall all the time because they feel like they're doing the right things, at the right frequency, and they've been doing it for a while and they seem stuck. And again, that's where testing can really help you. It's just like with anything else in life, like when people come in for chiropractic care, like we could probably get to the cause of your headaches without taking an x-ray or doing any kind of testing. But man, it makes it so much easier and more efficient and effective. And we're able to get to the root cause and fix it faster. We just take an x-ray, right? This is similar to that. And this helps Cece point you in the right direction with the 5 essentials to figure out what your next steps need to be. So normally there's a $30 value if you just come in on a random day and say, hey, I want to use the in-body scan. So together it's a $130 value. And we're going to give you a special opportunity in just a minute. But before we do, again, this is about real people.
Yeah. So I want to share Chloe's story because she came into the clinic. She's a chiropractic patient as well, and met with me and just said, hey, you know what? I am just struggling. I know I can get to my ideal weight. I have about 11 pounds that I just cannot get off. She was an avid, gym enthusiast. She really dialed in her nutrition, but there was something that was holding her back. And so being able to do this analysis really gave me some clues as to where and what the imbalances could be. And so we talked through some different things, and I recommended she actually do a stool test based on what she had going on, the symptoms she was presenting with. And it came back with some pretty startling information. And so from there, we were able to really put together a very detailed, unique plan for her nutrition, for her supplementation, for lifestyle recommendations. And she just had a tremendous experience. I guided her, she did all the work, but these are the things that she experienced. So she had an increase in energy. Those 11 pounds came off, and they came off quickly. She has no more chronic headaches, no more nausea, no more bloating. So her gut definitely got much stronger and healthier, and she was able to have better sleep and just less inflammation in the body. So it just goes to the power of showing the improvements you can truly make with your health when you test and identify the root cause and the imbalances that are taking place in the body. So
yeah, and really it just comes down to coaching. Everybody needs coaching. If you don't think you need coaching, you're probably the one that needs it most. Michael Jordan had a coach till he was done playing basketball. Tiger Woods still has a coach, for golf. Tom Brady still has a coach. I mean, the greatest of the greats, they have coaches. Why? Because coaches help you see things that you don't see. Even if you already do a lot of great things and a lot of great things, I have coaches for every category of my life. And so that's really what this is. And a lot of people say, well, it's the holidays. I don't really want to invest in myself right now. I don't really want to. I mean, this is the best one is I don't want to know. I don't want to know how bad it is, because then I'll feel guilty about not doing something about it. Listen, we all have those feelings, and we're not asking it to do a major overhaul necessarily right before the holidays. But I can tell you that procrastination is the killer of hopes, goals, and dreams. There's something called the Lodi monster, which is the law of diminishing interest, which means you get motivated to do something, or you get inspired to take some kind of action, whether it's start a new workout program, or, start a new diet, or hire a coach, or read a book, or do this new devotional study with your church group, whatever it is. And we've all been there, right? Like the church group thing happens at church, and it's like, hey, everybody join a church group. And you're like, I want to, I'll do it next week. Let me think about what, and then before you know it, it's 2023, and you're like, oh shoot, I was going to join that church group and make connections and actually be a part of our community, and I'm still not. Why? Because you forgot about it, because life got busy, and that happens to all of us. But it's the law of diminishing interest. And so the reason why whenever we do this stuff, we give you a discount. Obviously, we want to get these resources in your hands. There's no doubt about it. I mean, this is how we live our lives. This is how we operate our health. But we give you a discount because we don't want you to be eaten by the Lodi monster. Okay. We don't want you to be subject to the law of diminishing interest. So normally it's $130. And again, this is good through Friday. I know it's Monday. You got some time, but don't procrastinate. Just do it. If you know you should do it, just do it. It's $27, right? I mean, that's a few days at Starbucks. It's nothing.
Such a deal.
And again, it's like, we just want you to do it. We're lowering the barrier of entry as far as we possibly can. We just want as many people to do this as possible so that you have a good roadmap and you've got some idea of how to get through the holidays, but also, the way I look at this, and the reason why we're doing this at the beginning of December, is we want to equip and empower people to be ready to launch and springboard into 2023, not let you just do whatever you want for the next month and then make you feel really bad about it come January 1, and then have this whole laundry list of New Year's resolutions that we got to work through at the beginning of the year, right? We want you to enjoy the holidays, but we want you to have a little bit of momentum going in so that coming out at the beginning of next year, you've got a full head of steam. So if you click on the link, Cece's putting the link in the chat box right now. If you click on the link, this will give you the opportunity to take advantage of the offer. It's $27. That pays for everything that we talked about. It's the functional systems analysis and consultation, which is normally $100. And then also includes the in-body scan if you live local. If you don't live local, you're still saving $73. So don't complain. You're still getting a great value. But if you're in town anytime in the near future, we'll let you come in and do the in-body scan too.
So what will happen is after you click on the link and purchase that offer, you will receive either an email or a text from myself where I will send you the link to the FSA, the functional system analysis, and then schedule your consult.
Yep. So it's really simple. Just click on the link that's in the chat box now. And, I would say, because we might get some questions here in a minute. We're going to open this up for Q&A for a few minutes at the end, but some people might say, hey, can I extend this offer? Can I share this link with someone else? You definitely can. I mean, like I said, we want as many people to do this as possible. I would still strongly recommend that person, whoever it is, unless it's a child, which we see a lot of kids too. But I would highly recommend that person watch this webinar before they actually go through with the testing, just because they're going to have a lot greater context for what it is that we're trying to achieve and also what we're looking for, right? Otherwise, they're going to spend an hour in the room asking all these questions that they could have learned from the webinar. Plus, information is power, knowledge is power. So yes, you can share the link, you can share the offer, but try to get the person to watch the webinar too. Okay, we're going to open it up for some Q&A for the last couple of minutes. We also want to say thank you for sticking around to the end. Cece's putting a download link in the chat box, and this is for the holiday survival guide. So this is the ebook that's all about surviving the holidays, how to get through the holidays and stay healthy. Cool. Yeah, she just put the link in the chat box. You should just be able to click on it and download the link. And again, feel free to share this with whoever you want. We want this to get in the hands of as many people as possible. But while you guys are doing that, if there's any other final questions, I know Cece's scrolling through the chat.
There was one. Okay, so Tracy's asking, is hypertrophy a type of inflammation?
Yes, hypertrophy is the inflammatory response is part of hypertrophy, but too much is a bad thing.
Yeah, and as you get older, that naturally happens. It's like you don't use it, you lose it, right?
Yeah, so like when you go to the gym and you stress a muscle, that muscle is sore because it's building back bigger, and that's what hypertrophy is. Hypertrophy is increased mass of a tissue. So yeah, the inflammatory, and again, like what I said at the very beginning, the inflammatory response is not a bad thing. It's just too much of a bad, like if you're sore all the time from working out, most likely it's not because you're working out too hard. I mean, even in the midst of my Ironman training, it's not like I'm brutally, painfully sore all the time. Like I'm sore from working out, I'm tired from working out a lot, but I'm not like hurting because I'm working out. If you're hurting because you're working out, either number one, you're doing it wrong, or number two, your nutrition and supplementation needs some really major tweaking. Like you need to be taking an amino acid supplement, probably electrolytes like before and after, and then most definitely curcumin to reduce the inflammation.
Okay, several times throughout the year, I have issues with my knees and various leg workouts. Should I take this bundle to help with that? Say 2 to 4 times per year to help prevent some of those knee issues.
Yeah, my recommendation is if you have a chronic issue with a joint, like let's say you already know that your knees are kind of shot, like you've had someone look at them and it's like the cartilage is withered away, or it's almost bone on bone, or it's from an old injury and you just have chronic knee. It's not like every once in a while you have this knee pain. If it's a chronic thing, you probably need to be taking the inflammation bundle like all the time, and you might think, well, that sounds expensive. Well, so is surgery, right? I mean, if we can help you reduce the risk of needing a knee replacement because your body's actually able to repair and rebuild some of that tissue, and then coach you through, smart movements that help build up collateral ligaments, tendons, and muscles around the joint so that your body is stronger and more stable, That's a lot less expensive and painful than having a knee replacement. So if it makes you feel any better, like I said earlier, I take those supplements daily, except for the joint health. And even the joint health, I'll take, a couple times a year for sure when I get injured. But yeah, if you have chronic joint pain, definitely want to take those supplements, and probably on a regular basis.
Okay, I think that's it. We just have positive comments and feedback.
Cool. Well, hey guys, I really appreciate you guys being on this. Again, we had to call an audible kind of last minute deal. I really like this format because it's evergreen. So we'll post it. You can rewatch it. We're going to post it on our YouTube channel eventually, so you can rewatch this, every December if you want to, and get re-inspired. But if you have any additional questions or comments, you can leave them. Go back in, post a comment. We're going to be checking this every day for the next 5 days because the offers and the specials are still good till Friday. But our hope and prayer is just that something we said would make you feel empowered, educated, confident, inspired to take action, to see better health manifest in your life. Because like I said in the beginning, God's got a plan and a purpose for all of us, and you can't serve that purpose if you're sick, suffering, or dead. Besides your faith in your family, your health is your greatest asset. We just want to see you live your best life. And in order to do that, you've got to have great health. So be blessed. Merry Christmas. Hopefully this is good for you guys. We'll see you soon.